Hi, welcome to Shoshannah Rose radio program. I'm your host, Ann Finkelman. You're going to be so delighted that you tuned in today. I have a special guest for you, one of my special friends, Dr. John Huey. He's a doctor of chiropractic, and he's my personal chiropractor for over 26 years. And God uses good doctors. Yes, he does. And I've invited him on the program today because God has used him over the years to keep me healthy. You know, if the spine is not healthy, beloved, then the body won't be healthy. And so I've asked him, and of course he took time out of his busy day, and he said yes. So for your benefit. So, connect with me on Facebook, and Finkelman, Showshannah Rose radio program. And if you want to contribute to this ministry, ShoshannahMinistries.net, hit the financial link, and PayPal is safe giving. And so you help me do the work of the Lord, and God will bless you for it. So I want to read a scripture before I introduce my guest to you. And if you're in the Clearwater, Tarpon Springs, Tampa Bay, United States area, he is worth the visit. I'm telling you, I have people telling me, not to dog any chiropractors, but I've had people telling me about their chiropractors, and they say, oh, you just pay the money and out the door, but they never get better. With this man of God, you will get better because he cares about the well-being of his patients, and he understands how God made the body, that without the spinal column being in order, the body can't be healthy. So I want to read to you, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to him, okay? Beloved, I wish above all things, God says, 3 John verse 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So God desires, we are spirit, soul, and body. God desires that we prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospers, beloved. And so if you have any kind of skeletal issues, if you have any kind of muscular issues, if you have sciatica problems, we're going to have a testimony how God saved me from surgery several times, but this last time several years ago. And I've asked Dr. John to talk about it, speak about it. He's also a doctor of nutrition. So if you need information on nutrition, it's a one-stop shop here in Tarpon Springs, Florida. Worth the trip from Lakeland, anywhere in the surrounding Tampa Bay area, outskirts of Tampa. It's worth it. And he will work around your schedule. He'll work around your insurance. He'll work around, what's going on with you. He wants to see you well because Jesus wants to see you well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to my audience Dr. John. It's a pleasure to have you here.
And thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to turn you loose
here in my office.
In his office. And we set up a little studio. And so I'm happy to be here. And I'm happy that he's given me an hour of his time, his busy schedule. For you, our listening audience, and I'm going to turn him loose. Dr. John, whatever's on your heart, I know you're a man of God. You have a beautiful family.
Yes.
He has a beautiful family, 4 children. His wife is Cynthia. They've been married 26 years or 25 years?
27 years coming up.
It'll be 27 years coming up. And we met, he was right out of chiropractic school. He got married right when he finished chiropractic school. So we're more like family. And so God really uses him. That's what I want to get over to you today, beloved. And I want to see you come in. And if you're not happy with where you're going, or if you're on drugs, medication, and they cut you off, whatever the doctors, I'm not going to dog the doctors, but this is a natural cure. And we're going to talk about chiropractic. It may be new to some of you. So Dr. John, I turn you loose.
Okay.
And speak to our audience.
Thank you much, Ann. I've been in Florida now since 1991. Originally from Canada, so I came down here and started my practice in Tarpon Springs back then. It's a wonderful area. I've really been blessed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we love the weather, much nicer than in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, my beautiful wife Cynthia, she's been with me all this time, and
Beautiful.
we have 4 great kids, 25, 21, 19, and 15 years of age. So that's been a handful for both of us, and running the practice at the same time, obviously. But it's been a labor of love, to say the least.
And you have chiropractors working for you, and I've watched you, Dr. John, when you took over this practice.
Mm-hmm.
It was you and Dr. Greg.
Mm-hmm.
He sold it to you.
Yes.
And you had Roxanne and Bobby,
yeah.
and I was a patient, and you were just married, okay? and you didn't have the other chiropractors working with you,
Well, we certainly have, the practice has grown since then. I
and
currently
a
have,
massage therapist.
yeah, I have a full-time associate, excuse me, 2 exam and x-ray docs. We have a handful of massage therapists, support staff. So it has increased in size. We've been able to help a lot more people with having more staff in here, which is part of my mandate and my mission statement basically, is to see as many people as you can in this area, get them off of drugs and avoid surgery so they can spend more time taking better care of their families and building a better relationship with God. That's my mission. I say every single day in my prayers. It means a lot to me, and that's my sincere goal for all of you listening out there today. If you have any questions, we're going to talk about some specific things today. If you have any questions that you're not sure about, this is a great place to find out, because if I can help you, I'll let you know that, and if I cannot, I'll also let you know that as well. But most of the time, we can help patients a great deal, much more than they expect.
Okay, so I want to mention, of course, repetition so that people can get it, or if they have to go to work, how can they reach you? If they're in the area, or how far do patients travel to get to you?
Well, I like to boast that I have a patient that comes from Cali, Colombia, every so often to get adjusted. She has a ministry down there, and she's a great woman as well.
And the Lord sends her.
Yes. And so locally, anywhere from Port Richey down to Clearwater and east to Trinity, because we go further west this way, and we're in the Gulf, so we can't go too far west. But we draw patients from all over this area, and even from farther. A patient that's coming up now all the way from Sarasota. He was my patient before. Didn't have good results where he was in the past year down there, so he's driving up every couple of weeks to see me now here in Tarpon Springs. The phone number is 727-934-0844. The address is 400 East Tarpon Avenue in beautiful downtown Tarpon Springs. There's a time and temperature sign just outside this window, so when you're on Tarpon Avenue, it's difficult to miss. When you hit the time and temperature sign, just make a left and then turn in the parking lot. I can be reached. My email is drjohnhui@gmail.com, so Dr. John Huey at Gmail. And I do answer emails, so that's also a good way to communicate with patients.
And you know, I found when people come from other chiropractors and they complain because they're not getting help, they're not getting results. They pay you $35, pay you $45, and out the door. But you never, you know, one of the things I want to talk about is the decompression, which would save. I know it saved me from surgery, and we could talk about that a little further down in the interview if you like. But you're also a proponent of vitamins and minerals, and you have your doctorate. Why don't we talk about that a little bit? So it's like a one-stop shop. It's not just chiropractic. You're the total health.
Well, I found that years ago that my patients that did better usually had better diets. So back in 2005, I've got my postdoc in nutrition, so I'm board certified, American Clinical Board Nutrition, which is not a chiropractic degree. Any DC, MD, DO, dentist, they also do some wonderful work in nutrition. So I've had that now for, I guess this is my 18th year doing nutrition, not just as a hobby. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart, and there's a reason for that we'll make it into later on. But I do like technology. I think that technology is wonderful if it's helpful. There are a lot of gadgets and fads out there that have not been helpful. So things like the spinal decompression. I'm also the only treating clinic in the 3 counties that has a active digital motion x-ray machine. And that's been a godsend, because the things we've seen with respect to how to treat patients better, make sure the adjustments we do are safe and the most effective adjustments we can do, it has been great. So and a digital motion x-ray is nothing more than an x-ray that allows me to see patients move in real time. Static films, where you have to stay nice and still, they say, okay, don't breathe, don't move right before the picture. That we have as well. But the DMX, as it's called, enables me to see necks, shoulders, knees, different extremities move in real time. And when patients do come in, you mentioned not getting results elsewhere, oftentimes it's because of an instability that has not been diagnosed properly. And then we tell the patients either how to do their stretches differently, or how to watch the adjustments in a different fashion. But it gives us more information. And as I said before, more information is always good, and technology is good if it's helpful.
If it's helpful.
Yes.
So if the listening audience, if they have unexplained pain, the digital thermography, is it called?
X-ray.
Digital motion X-ray. As you're moving, whatever's rubbing against joint, whatever's going on, Dr. Huey can spot it, beloved. He has state-of-the-art technology. His staff is professional, and we're not selling him. We're sharing his expertise that God has blessed him, and we have results. Do you want to talk about a little bit, Dr. John? You want to talk about A deep decompression,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you,
That saved me from surgery, and you know it did, and I know it did.
I'll let you because of patient confidentiality. I'll let you talk about that
Okay,
first, and
okay,
then you
okay,
can give the history, and I'll explain
okay.
how that happened and how we treated you.
Okay, several years ago, I was sitting at the computer, and I hadn't gone to chiropractic. You have to do maintenance. Oh, it's too expensive. Well, how important is your health, beloved? You know, if you're not moving your body correctly, and there's so much. We're going to do another interview. This is one of many, and I want Dr. Young to pick his brain for. I want him to explain what goes on because people don't understand the importance of chiropractic. You know, medical doctor. You go to a medical doctor when you're sick. You go to Dr. Huey before you get sick. And then when you get sick, you come here and you get better through the manipulation of the spinal column and the knowledge that God's given him. Drug free, surgery free, okay, condemnation free, fear free, okay, and that's the type of doctor. What is that? The doctor of the future is going to be one. Who said that?
Who concerns himself with the alignment of the body itself? Yeah.
Okay, the doctor of the future will concern himself with the alignment of the body of the future. Okay, drugs don't heal, beloved. Medical drugs, thank God we have them for pain or infection or bacteria, but they don't heal. God never made us to function on medicine. You and I have had this conversation plenty of times. I wanted to share with you several years ago. I was at the computer and I hadn't come to see Dr. John in 9 months. I just was out of town. I was traveling back then. Well, I felt a little tight in the lower lumbar back here, okay, by my waist. And so in a sitting position, don't ever do it. Do not, you know, you see on TV, do not attempt at home, okay? And I twisted like that, and I twisted like that, and it was tight, really twisted. Like I should have been standing up, actually. And I was a little tight, and that night it was tight, so I put some ice on it. The next morning I woke up and I was in agony. If I tell you agony on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 35. I could not, my right side, my leg was paralyzed. I didn't have any feeling at all. The pain was excruciating, and I'm not one to take painkillers. And so somebody had to come and get me. I couldn't drive, I couldn't walk, I just laid there with ice on me to get relief from the ice. And I prayed, and I said, God, what do you want me to do? If I go to the hospital, they're going to cut me open. Because I was like in excruciating, you that have had sciatica, you understand what I'm saying. It's worse than giving birth to a baby. It's worse than, it, it's a scale of 1 to 10, 35, maybe 75. You're paralyzed. You have to have a pain pill. You cannot move. And so I had to go on a walker. I called Dr. John, and he says, "Where you been all these months?" I said, "Well, I'm sorry. I had to eat crow." And I said, I'm sorry. And he was right, because maintenance is very important. How important is your health once a month to stay in line and make sure that your body's operating correctly so you could live and enjoy your family. And he says, "Can you get in here?" I said, "I'm flat on my back. I'm in agony." And he hesitated. He says, "Can you get in here Thursday?" So someone took me there. I had to lay down in the car. I had to get a walker because I could not move more than 1 to 2 inches. I was screaming from the pain. When I came in, long and the short of it is, Dr. Huey, he's not one to do this, but he knows his limits. He says, you have to go. He couldn't even examine me. I couldn't even lay down on the table. I was probably for surgery. You know, if the Lord didn't say Dr. John has the answer, call Dr. John.
A lot of people will do that. Make that mistake,
I knew that if I went to the hospital in that condition, they would have cut me open for emergency surgery. And I said, Lord, how am I going to preach the gospel with my back all cut up? So he said, call Dr. John. So I did. And he sent me to an MD. He wanted me to go for an emergency MRI. He sent me to an MD for painkillers just till he could examine me. I couldn't, which he doesn't do, but he knows his limits. I couldn't move. I had to have some kind of relief. And I have to say, he told me, okay, God had showed him within 5 days. He said, I want you here every day. I want you here every day except Sunday for decompression. I said, what's that? He said, that's going to loosen up your lumbar. He said, and I can't make any promises, but he was seeking God, you know. And so I said, oh, how am I going to get there? This, that, the other. God provided rides. He provided everything, you know, because I couldn't drive. I had to stay with somebody over the period of the first 2 weeks. Almost 3 weeks, I couldn't move. Okay, I was incapacitated. And so After 5 days, Dr. John did not adjust me until 2 weeks after I had decompression. That's what we're going to talk about now. And he put me on the decompression Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was here every day. Somebody took me. God provided. Thank God he provided. Thank you, Lord. And after the fifth day, the pain started to lessen to where it was a dull toothache, like a dull toothache, like a low grade, pain. And I went off the medicine, which I didn't want to take the medicine, but I had to. And after that, I got off of it as quick as I can. And then the decompression, before I turned the floor over to Dr. John, I was on that decompression Monday through Saturday, 6 days a week for 6 months straight. 6 months straight. I couldn't wear my little high heels. I couldn't fend natural things in life. I was just incapacitated. And through the wisdom of God, and after 6 months, I put my little heels back. I was able to bend. I was able to reach the floor. I was able to turn. I was able to stretch. I was pain free, drug free, and because God told me, call Dr. John, and I'm passing it on to you. He has the wisdom of God. And if you're hurting, beloved, and your sciatica or your lumbar or your neck or your spine, or you're tingling in your hands or your toes, or you're limping, or even if you've had back surgery, you treat pain, or if you're in a wheelchair, people have gotten out of wheelchairs through therapy of Dr. John Huey. So I want you to explain, I'm forever grateful that I'm not cut and I'm healed and I can still touch the ground, and I'm here faithfully. When I'm in town, when I'm not ministering out of town, I am here faithfully every 2 weeks. Because once a month is every 2-3 weeks I'm here. I can tell the difference. And as soon as I get adjusted, Jesus, thank you for Dr. John and his family. And Top and Total Healthcare. As soon as I get adjusted, I'll say to him, while I'm still in the treatment room, I can feel the life of God tingling through my body. Don't I say that to you often? I can feel like energy going through me. So who wouldn't want to feel like that? Yes, Jesus heals. The number one way he heals is through his power. But he uses people, beloved. He uses people. He uses good doctors. And Dr. John Huey is a good doctor. So let's talk about, and I'm grateful for that I'm not cut. Because most back surgeries don't work.
Yes. Well, I'll talk about what was going on with you then. As far as the disc herniation, that's all too common these days, especially all the sitting we're doing, all the driving. The discs in between the bones, I give the analogy that like jelly donuts. You got the dough on the outside and you have the gel on the inside. If there's a rip in that dough and that gel is sticking through, that's called a slip disc or a herniated disc. And that's what you're suffering from. So you found that on the MRI, and the decompression, quite simply, will separate the low back, just gently pull, so it pulls it slowly over time, and that material that's been sticking out and irritating the nerve is causing the sciatic nerve and causing all the pain and the spasm and the inability to move. That actually allows the nerve to come off, the disc to come off the nerve, and it slowly heals.
Allowing the disc to go back up.
It actually moves back into from where it came. The problem is people are not as patient as you, and they're afraid, and sometimes they get bad advice. Back in 2013, there was a big study done from the journal Spine, which is an orthopedic journal. It's not a chiropractic journal. It's an orthopedic surgical journal. And they looked at the 800,000 spinal surgeries done that year. And by their own accounting, they figured that 600,000 or 75% were not necessary. And I agree with that, because most of the time when we see patients, our success rate is better than 75%, keeping people away from surgery. But most of the time, patients do not have to have surgery. Either they're too frightened or in too much pain and don't wait long enough. Now, you were doing better certainly before the 6 months. By 6 months, everything had resolved, and you never had the surgery, which is great.
After 5 days,
you started to see some improvement.
The agony had left where I stopped taking the medicine for
pain. But people don't want to wait even 2 days, and they're told, well, if this gets any worse, you'll be paralyzed, and all kinds of nonsense that I've heard out there. And they are frightened, and people in pain sometimes will make bad judgment, and that judgment will have to have the surgery, or they'll recommend surgery. They'll listen to that advice, and I think, again, by their own accounting, 75% of the time it's not even necessary. So with the decompression, we allow the disc to be pulled off the nerve, and then the healing process starts. That's kind of cool, because patients that have old discs, as long as we do decompression, that material will pull back more flush, and then the body can create scar tissue. And I know that in the time that you've been treating with me, that disc has healed, and there's some scar tissue over top of that. It's much, much stronger than if you allow that disc to maintain its position sticking outside. Even if it's off the nerve, you still want to get decompression to pull it back so your body can create scar tissue.
So a decompression is a machine. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
It's a table that people lay on. You say, oh, what is that? Am I strapped down? Am I cuffed? Or what kind of machine is it?
It's a very comfortable table. It's pneumatic, so it's air driven. You lay down, typically on your back, sometimes on your tummy. There are straps that go on the chest and the low back. Very, very comfortable as well. Nice broad pads, and they will allow us to pull and relax, and that's that back and forth pumping motion allows us to draw that material back in. And once it starts, the pressure's off the nerve, and then you start to feel better. That's part of the process. Then the adjustment part takes place as far as realigning things so that when you're moving around, the joints themselves aren't causing further pressure. That's important because they can irritate the nerves as well. And through the adjusting, we get more improvement, and the better results just continue. After you reach a point where you were probably in the first 8 or 10 weeks, we started doing some stretching.
We did.
And then later on,
icing.
some exercising. Yeah, stretching and icing is important early on.
And walking. He said no aerobics, walking.
No bouncing.
No bouncing. No forcing of, of when something, you told me when something felt tight on my back, not to
Don't
force it.
We talk about posture, how to lift things, how to move your body during the course of the day. Real simple advice that people can follow. It's not complicated stuff. And in doing so, we allow that body to continue to heal. All right, and by the time you're feeling much, much better, you've also been taught how to strengthen the muscles, strengthen the core muscles in the front, in the side, in the back, so that the problem is less likely to occur just with regular activities of daily living. If there's a fall or a car accident or trauma, yes, that can be made worse again, but then you can have a new injury from a healthy disc from the same kind of trauma.
And that was, and I never forget the look on his face, and I've been coming here a long time, okay? And when he saw the MRI, I said to him, because I've had several car accidents before I broke the curse off my life in the name of Jesus. And so I've had 7 in my life, okay, since I was a little girl, and no more, thank you, Lord. And the look on his face, I said, is this an old injury or a new injury? And he said, this is a new injury. How did you do this? And so it was an attack. It was spiritual, spiritual attack, and it was physically induced. And I'm telling you, the pain, I will never say, oh, my back hurts. Your back doesn't hurt. It's just aching. There's a difference in aching and, oh, I can't move on a walker. And his face turned white. He said, I can't promise you anything, Ann. He said, but I will do my best. And he prayed. And 5 days into that, as I said, the pain went from a 35 probably to a 7, to where I was able to bear it with some ice at night, and heat in the morning. And then 6 weeks into it, a little more. And yes, I got weary. Yes, it was 6 days a week. I had to come here for 6 months. But I knew that God spoke to me, that called Dr. John. I knew God uses you, Dr. John, and I knew you had the answer. And that's why I invited Dr. John. It's true. And that's why I invited Dr. John. He's a wonderful man of God, a beautiful family, a man of God, and he knows his business. So, I have people around me say, oh, I don't want to, I say, you want to be loyal to a doctor that doesn't have the answer? I'm not telling you, leave your doctor. I'm sure there's a lot of good doctors, but they don't have the answer. The medical field, all they know how to do is cut and paste. They don't know how to, they don't even the fats. Now they're taking fat out of people's bellies and putting them in the up in the area. And I'm like, what in the world? Cut and paste, more money, more insurance. You know what it's about. You and I talk about the whole realm of what's going on over there. But this is a natural realm. This is a natural realm that happens in this office. Top and Total Health Care, Dr. John Huey. I also want to speak, you hold seminars, you hold like meetings. In other words, he educates his patients, beloved. He hold like meetings back there in the office, and he'll have different speakers come in. And he's a big proponent of the whole man. It's called Top and Total Health Care. And if somebody has like neck injury, say they're in a car accident or they've been in a car accident, and I'm sure you've seen the downside of that. They're just on medicine their whole life. They never get better. Or they've had back surgery. Could you help people like that?
That's one of the most common things that happens in this area are car accidents. We live in the most dangerous place to drive in the United States, and that's an unfortunate fact. Inside the vehicle, when you're struck, the most mobile part of that vehicle is your cervical spine. Men fare much better than women because we have bigger muscle mass on the neck, and so our neck moves less forcefully. Women often get whiplash and disc herniations from seemingly mild impacts, 8, 10, 12 miles an hour. There's a video that I play in my lobby quite frequently, and it has human test subjects done a couple of years ago in San Diego, where they did a crash study where they have high-speed cameras looking at the motion, calculating how many G-forces occur.
Wow.
And it's quite, and I do this for a living, I was quite surprised at how violent these collisions were in slow motion, even at slow speeds. We're not talking about 50-mile-an-hour rear-end collisions, we're talking about 10, 11, 12-mile-an-hour collisions, and the number of Gs that are developed are anywhere from 8 to 10 Gs, which is a tremendous amount of force. So because of that, this can also herniate in the cervical spine. The same technology, the same technique that we use for decompression of your low back is the same thing we do for the cervical spine as well. It's just a different device. You lay down in the same machine, but your head rests in a cradle. We strap that area down, and it again very gently pulls and relaxes, and that will help patients that have not just the neck pain, but also symptoms down their arms, numbness, tingling, weakness in the hands or fingers. It makes a huge difference.
Like
there.
a dull aching or migraine headaches. Let's talk about migraine headaches. That people suffer terribly with migraine headaches. I don't have any more migraines. You remember the early years?
Yeah.
How many migraines? Every other day. I would come in here and one eye would be closed, and I'm like, I couldn't work.
There are different types of migraines. There's the classic migraines that are triggered, let's say, by people that drink red wine or eat cheese, and there's a trigger for that. There's also a much more common condition called a cervicogenic or a neck-generated migraine, and that comes from the cervical spine.
Okay,
so
which
that's
would be caused by what?
Well, again, from old injuries that go untreated, from now computer posture, from phone posture, what we call tech neck, where the chin is always in the chest. By the way, that's a horrible posture. If your kids or grandkids are doing that, make sure they keep their chin off their chest, make them hold the device here, and then when they're around adults, make them put it away. That's always, we just put the thing
He
down.
knows, he has 4 children.
Yes. So that the DMX is particularly valuable when we're assessing what's happening in the cervical spine. For patients with chronic headaches, I have a patient who was involved in an accident recently, and she had a history of long-standing migraine headaches. And again, these are cervicogenic migraines. She had them every day, twice a day, just very, very brutal. Since we've been treating her for the trauma, for the car accident, she's had them at first, it was 1 every 3 days. Now she hasn't had them, I think, for more than a week. So that's very, very rewarding for me because we can change someone's life who thinks that's just the way it's supposed to be. I was born with migraines, my grandmother had migraines or whomever, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Or I'm stressed, or
and that's
and
not the case.
And the shoulders go up, and it's all stress. It's not the case at all.
We can change someone's life simply by doing simple, safe, effective adjustments, and show how to stretch and maintain those corrections that we make in the posture. And as a result, no medication.
No medication.
And no chronic pain, no kidding.
And no migraines, and no time where you have to lay in the bed in a dark room because the sound of a bird singing would be, I know I had migraines for many, many years, and then it would get better, and then I had a car accident, and they would start again. But I thank God, no more migraines, I mean, sometimes if you sleep incorrectly, or your muscle will spasm a little bit, and you put ice on it, as you taught me. Ice, I never forgot what Dr. John told me many years ago. He said, ice is the greatest anti-inflammatory ever.
Yes. Ice,
not a muscle relaxer, not a this, that, the other. And yes, we need those in time, at times, but I don't, we do chiropractic care. So I wanted to invite Dr. Huey. We have probably 10 more minutes. I wanted him to share about nutrition. Let's talk about, or vertigo just came to me. Let's talk about what vertigo is and dizziness and
we'll finish with that because it is related to the cervical spine. Vertigo, there are different types of vertigo where patients the room is spinning. That's usually an inner ear problem.
Where you're dizzy.
And sometimes, most of the time, they feel off balance. Like when you get off the ship and you don't have your land legs, so they reach forward to grab their purse. The woman comes up and it's like, oh, not quite straight. Not that the room is spinning all the time. More often than not, that's also an issue with the upper cervical spine.
Okay.
The upper cervical spine, there are things called tonic neck reflexes. That enables you to dance, for example, or sit down without watching your feet all the time. So you know where you are in space, you know where your feet are supposed to be instantaneously. If that communication between the neck, the eyes, and the rest of the body is off, let's say from a trauma or too much computer work
or a fall
and a car accident, then patients will feel off. So simply stretching that area, home stretching, getting adjusted very, very safely and effectively here will reduce those and remove those symptoms of vertigo.
And I've had that. I've had the vertigo. You know, there was a season in my life back in the 90s where I was in another state and I was with my family, and I'm telling you, I got up off the bed. It was the morning. I got up off the bed. I just awakened, and I just and the whole room. That's a nightmare. We're not talking dizziness. We're talking like this. Things, the same thing going 2, 3, 4, 5 times in front of your eyes. And I thought, what in the world? And there was a time where I couldn't get to Dr. John, so I tried another chiropractor. I had some relief, but not a lot of relief. That's how I know. I've had others in the past, but he's in my area. He's in the Tampa Bay area, and I'm here, beloved, because I have to preach the gospel. I have to bless people all over the globe, and God uses this man. If you're a minister, if you're a not minister, I mean, we're all ministers. If you know the Lord, if you don't know the Lord, make him your Lord and Savior today. And when you close your eyes for the last time, beloved, you will spend eternity with Jesus in heaven with God. And so I had asked Dr. John, because I'm a living witness. I mean, nobody can argue with your experience. They can say, oh, I don't believe that. Well, you don't believe it. I know it's true. So you can't talk me out of it. You can't tell me it isn't true. You can't tell me, oh, that stuff shit. No, because I'm a living witness. So if you're hurting, if you are desperate and been crying out, oh, God, please heal me, give Dr. John a call. God uses him. Okay? Toppin Total Healthcare, 400 East Toppin Avenue, Toppin Springs, Florida, 34689. Zip code 34689. Telephone number 727-934-0844. Dr. John Huy, Doctor of Chiropractic. And as we're closing in the next several minutes, how can they reach you? You're on Facebook, and you want them to.
Certainly, the best way is just to call the office. We don't close for lunch when the office is open. Okay. So pretty much from 7 o'clock till 7 o'clock, 5 days a week, the office is open and the phone is always answered. On Saturdays we're open from 8 until noon, and Sundays we are indeed resting as well. Okay,
with the family, and you're here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Dr.
Yes.
John.
Well,
correct?
Seeing patients mostly Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like Tuesdays, Thursdays are paper days, and I see some patients. I also do nutritional consults on those days.
Let's talk about that.
Yes.
5 minutes.
So, for example, today I had a young gentleman that came in, a teenager that was having issues with attention, and that's something that's quite common. So, all my patients, whether they're my seniors, I have a new patient I started yesterday, he's 90 years old, or this young gentleman today, we'll go through a nutritional consultation. What that means is we get nutritional information, a 7-day diet history, a systems review looking at ingestion to elimination, a very comprehensive questionnaire that they'll fill out. We look at medications that they may be taking. Also, for women especially, we do a temperature test to look at thyroid function. I'll look at blood tests, other testing that may be done, and then we put all that together and come up with a very specific program for that individual. It's not cookie cutter. It's not, all right, you take this and this and this. We find out what they need, and both nutritionally, so when I see what they're eating, it's quite simple to limit the bad stuff. We try and do that. We try and increase the things that are good for that patient, and also add things that they should be eating in the first place. So that's a conversation that takes anywhere from 35 to 45 minutes with patients, and as I said, all my patients go through that. I don't charge any extra for the nutrition consultation, and it's something that I found, like I said years ago, my patients that ate better, had better nutrition, they'd heal faster. So ultimately, it makes me look better if patients are healing faster. So and they feel better when they're eating better, they lose weight, they think better, they move better.
They sleep better.
They sleep better. I mean, nutrition is such an important aspect of healing, and it's been overlooked by allopathic physicians for so long.
What's an allopathic physician?
MDs. For so long, it's been, even to this day, they'll say, taking a supplement, it's not that important for the vast majority of people.
Right.
And I couldn't disagree more. I've seen what good supplementation can do, and it's very, very important. So we find out what you need and then put you on a specific path to get you where you need to go.
And the result is healing.
Of course.
You know,
of
people, I'm a witness, beloved. You know, wrong foods and wrong lifestyle is inflammation to the body, and it's the body on fire. So when the body's on fire, what do people think is going to happen internally? So you have to calm it down. You have to get the body pH, alkaline. You have to get the balance. We're going to talk about that in another show. But this Top and Total Healthcare with Dr. John Hewing. He has massage therapists. Let's talk about that for 2 minutes. I mean, how that plays in, because obviously you believe in it because people are here with massage therapy.
We have, I think we have actually 6 massage therapists right now. The work of the massage therapist is very, very important. It's simple in one regard because we get the muscles to move and the range of motion to improve, but it's also complicated because that healing process can't be as complete if there are muscle issues. So since that's something I can't do along with my adjusting, I've hired people to do the massage therapy, and I have an excellent crew here, as I call them, and they're very adept at treating patients who have recent trauma, so they know they're very mindful of how much pressure they use, and they're very, very kind to the patients. And others that are sports oriented and are in very good shape that need to have significant range of motion work, as well as deep tissue massage. So it's a very, very important adjunct, a very, very important part of the healing process here at Top and Total Healthcare.
That's why I called Dr. John Huey today, 727-934-0844. Contact him, Dr. Dr. John HUY@gmail.com.
Yes.
He will personally answer you, and he works with you financially. He has payment plans, because I know you think, oh, it's so much money. Well, he works with you. He really, really wants his patients to get well.
Yeah.
He doesn't bleed the patients. He works with you however long it takes. He'll give him, you'll put them on a program, how many treatments, whatever God gives.
Well, we explain to all the patients before they get started what their care plan, we call them care plans, will be. And they range anywhere from, on the short end, 12 visits in a couple of months to several months worth of care if it's a decompression patient, because that's just how long things take. In between, there are patients who have car accidents and falls and spills, who have multiple disc herniations, and we're not talking 2 or 3 weeks of care. It's sometimes 12, 18 months. And again, that's very unfortunate for those individuals. But yeah, no drugs. I tell my staff every day, every patient that we get off of drugs will never be a victim of an oxy overdose, OxyContin overdose. Every patient we stay away from surgery, we keep out of surgery, will never be a victim of infection or a bad surgery. And what people have to realize is that the most significant indicator of having surgery on your low back is a previous surgery. That's the biggest indicator. So those who have had a surgery are more likely than any other group to have a second surgery. And again, with 3/4 of those just a few years ago in the Journal of Spine were deemed to be unnecessary, which is heartbreaking to me.
And I'm sure there are, but I've never heard someone say they're going 1 or 2 or have the wrong doctor and they're on pain pills. That's the only alternative. And that really bothers me. It troubles my spirit, because it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be.
60,000 people last year died in this country just from narcotics, not from other drug complications, just from narcotics. That's as many people as were killed in the Vietnam War. That's how many we lost in the last year alone.
Because God says...
That's a sin. That's an absolute sin.
That's a sin. 3 John epistle, beloved, verse 2, Beloved, I wish above all things in the word of God that you mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. I wish you good health. I wish that you prosper and be in health. When your soul prospers, your mind is at rest, beloved. Your body will calm down. Lots of times that we do things where it's aggravating the body, agitating the body. Chiropractic keeps us in alignment. Chiropractic keeps us, as we're closing, next 2 minutes, Dr. John, when there's at the moment of conception, we know scientifically there's a flash of light at the moment when the sperm and the egg meet, and there's a fertilization, because God is light and in him there is no darkness at all. When does the spine develop in the fetus?
The first thing that develops is the nervous system.
The nervous system, which is what you deal with.
Yes. Absolutely. So it's not the eye or the heart. I do quizzes when I give workshops in the office, and a lot of patients will think it's the heart that develops first. That is not true. The first system that develops in the body, the preeminent system, is the nervous system.
Because everything goes out from there,
Yeah.
all
And
the
that
nerve
controls,
endings.
yeah, controls all the development of all the other organs. Shortly thereafter, the spinal column, or the bones around the nervous system, the spinal cord, and the skull will form to protect that. But that is the first thing we deal with as far as the development of the spine. And it is a preeminent system in the body because it controls every other system in the body.
Wow,
So,
this is really good.
yeah.
So why are you not here? Why are you not here? Come on, 727-934-0844. Don't you want to feel better? Dr. John, thank you so much. I've loved this. This has been a joy to
Thank you very
me.
much.
And thank you for gracing my audience, the Showshannah Rose radio program. And he's a wonderful man of God. He and his family, they're wonderful people. And he's available to come and have talks at your church events.
Mhm.
He's available for
Spinal screenings.
spinal screenings or house events, or if you had a car accident and you're looking
Yes.
for a good chiropractor, he'll testify on your behalf in court, and he does very well with that because God is all about justice and what's right. And so we are finishing this program, Showshannah Rose radio program. We're going to have Dr. John Huey back again, Toppin Total Healthcare, 400 East Toppin Avenue, Toppin Springs, Florida, 727-934-0844. And we will see you again. Dr. John, thank you so much.
And
Come
thank
and
you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Come and see the man of God. And Finkelman, I love you more and more. And thank you for an hour of your time. Beloved, God says, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. In Jesus' name, I pray that for you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.